Hey, what's going on, y'all? This your boy Lyric, your Wild and Not Creative.
And it's your girl, Mariah.
And this is 15 Minutes with Dad.
Dad.
Well, Mariah and I like to go into deep topics talking about fatherhood, healing, mental health, and all the things we love about our quirky relationship. And you guys get to be a part of it for about 15 minutes. So thank you all for joining us. We'll be right back after this. All right, y'all, welcome back to 15 Minutes with Dad. And today we're going to talk about some very interesting stuff. We're going to be a little bit deep today.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad bit. Just a mini bit.
Just a little.
But you're going to hear about stories about our life at different points in time and how our perspective was molded in that time. And so today we're going to be talking about how my teaching or how I pushed her to react to the world or interact with the world as a kid, as a young one.
That's a young one.
Impacted her throughout her life at different stages. And let me just re-say that one more time, just in case I didn't say it correctly. I am going to talk about how I pushed her as a parent, pushed my child to interact with the world around her, and how that impacted her at different points in time in her life. And to put that into perspective, I'll give you an example. Like some parents, they tell their kids to, don't go bother them. Go sit down. Like leave them alone. You're just gonna bother them. Or yelling at them. Oh my God, you're too loud. Like you're always loud. Or quiet down.
Yeah.
People are gonna hear us. Or, making the world seem bigger than it is to a little one and making them feel insignificant in those moments, right? Or somebody's like, hey, go over there and do this and tell that person this, or go into, you feel like they're beautiful. Like, hey, you remember that one time, this, just a quick story, like we're at the store and this little girl came to you and said what?
Oh yeah, I remember that. She asked her mom and she was like, why is she so beautiful?
Right? This little 4-year-old came and told 3 or 4 random, just passing by with her mom, and said that, and Mariah was just like crying for the rest of our grocery trip.
That's the rethink life, guys. It was
rethink life. She didn't grab any groceries. She didn't help pick up anything. She was just crying, and she was like contemplating her existence because why?
Because somebody saw something in me that I didn't.
Wow.
Like a 4-year-old. Like it's crazy how like she was like so little and like
just innocent, and kids will tell you how they feel.
Right.
4-year-olds, they will tell you.
That's their demon years.
Yeah, they will tell you exactly what they're feeling like. Teenagers too. Now that I think about it, but
not as much. It's more filtered.
Right, yeah. It's more concerned about people's hearts and
right.
Feelings.
Yeah,
4-year-olds have no idea what that looks like. But that child, I can see that her parents allow her to speak her mind outwardly and fluently whenever she feels it, right? And don't kind of filter it. And so we're going to talk about our relationship and how I was with her, and tell you specific stories and kind of like bring that into perspective on how that really impacts her right now. And hopefully you parents can literally take this information and question your own reaction with your parents. And if you're an adult and you're not a parent, you can kind of take this time to think about how your parents molded your belief in yourself today by how they made you feel when you was a kid. I'm going to tell my life story too, which I'm going to try not to get too deep. It's going to
be very long.
No, it's not.
You're pretty old.
We only got 15 minutes, so.
You're pretty old, so it's going to be quite a while.
So, yeah. Wow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Teenagers or 4-year-olds, take your pick, guys. So let's talk about you first, because since
we're talking about your life story,
then talk about you first.
Okay.
This is what I used to be. This is how I used to be when Mariah was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We would go to the park, right? And while we're at the playground, she would go and play for a little bit, come back to me and be like, I don't have any friends. Nobody wants to play with me. And so I was like, teaching her how to make friends. I was like, all right, go talk to them. Like, go and ask them, like, specifically, go ask them their name before you even play with them. Ask them what their name is, and then you tell them your name, and then you just ask them if they want to play. Those 3 things, and that was mandatory at every park session that we went to. Like, I did not like. She would come and sit next to me. If I didn't do that, she would sit next to me the entire park time. And I
would slay though. It would slay. We'd slay. We'd
Right.
slay when we sit next to each other.
What do we do?
We sang and played the guitar. Well, you played the
Yeah.
guitar. I sang. Well, we both sang, but it was
That was lit. We made so many friends that way.
Yeah, for real. See,
Right. A lot.
It works
so
out. It
Before
works
I get
out.
to that, so when I go to the park and I would pick Mariah up, like I would play my guitar. Like I would just sit at the park and play my guitar and practice while she goes and play. And I'm like, just trying to, keep my hand on the guitar and just practice, right? And Mariah would start using me. Like she played my whole little plan to like get her to make friends. She played me by bringing kids to me to listen to us perform and sing, which would ultimately bring parents, and like it became like a
I
nice
got you
little
some
crowd.
friends too. Got you
Yeah,
some
you got me
friends
friends too.
too.
Because in reality, I didn't have any parent friends because I was a young father. So most parents that had kids Mariah's age were like older than I was. So
It's still like that, Dad. It's okay.
it is, but it's the world we live in. So
Okay.
we move on. But so that was the caveat. She would use what I told her to do. She would ask them their name, bring them over to me, and then she would sit down with me and sing. And they would be cool, and then they would go and play like after they got their performance, and they would think that Mariah was so cool. So she basically used me for brownie parts, which I think she still does today.
Oh, I for sure still do.
But that's because I'm a young dad. Dang. I'm being used, guys. All right. So how, tell us about how you felt in those moments, like when I would force you to do that. And it was a test. When she came back from playing, I would ask you, what is it? Like, what is this person's name? Like, how old are they? Like, I would just ask you random questions. Do you have these for every time you went and play? So how did that make you feel? Like, what are some thoughts that went in your head? Like,
I think whenever we first started happening, like I feel like I was a little scared and nervous because I was like, what if nobody wants to be friends with me, sort of thing. But like, I think like once I started doing it more and like I met more kids and stuff, like it was more like, it was like a
habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. Like, do you remember when we used to also go dance?
Yes.
And when what did I like?
Dad, you're sharing all my secret talents
I'm
right
gonna
now.
play the video.
You are
I'm
sharing.
gonna put the video in this here podcast, just so you know, so people can see you dance at your little baby stage.
Oh.
She was lit.
No, don't
She
do
was like,
that.
All right, I'm not gonna do it. I might. Depends on if people ask for it. But anyways,
Okay.
all right. So
Ask for it.
now let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
8 years old.
Wait, we were talking about the dancing.
I was about to talk about the dancing, but oh yeah. So in the dancing, ADHD. In the
Okay.
dancing, thank you for bringing me back.
Of course, anytime.
Like, do you remember how adamant I was about? Like, do you remember how you felt when we would get there before you go out and dance?
Yeah, I felt like the same thing. I was nervous and stuff because there would be like a whole bunch of people watching me. What if I messed up, sort of thing. So I feel like it's always like been about making mistakes rather than like actually doing it that I was scared of.
What are some things that you remember of me telling you, if you remember any?
Just go out and use my space, and like about dancing or like in general.
Like, yeah, the dancing part.
Okay, yeah, to go out, use my space, and just get in the mode, I guess.
In your zone. That's your zone.
Yeah.
It's your world.
Yeah, I remember saying it's your world.
But
I always thought of being in a bubble whenever I dance. My bad, guys.
eat microphones.
Whenever I would dance, I imagine myself being like in a bubble. So it was
Right. And no, that's good. That's awesome that you even ever because you never told me that that's how you visualize yourself.
oh,
when
now you
you're
know.
dancing. That's good to know. Good to know because it's my Superstar show. If you're my age, you know what that is. Don't worry, you don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm not
But
your age,
let's
so
fast forward. Thank goodness. No, let's fast forward to when you were 8, right? When we went to Disney World, like
that was so fun.
when there was this, there were so all day she was asking me to go see princesses. She didn't care about anything else in Disney World except for seeing the princesses.
And going through the castle, because I thought it was like an actual
She
castle.
thought we were going to go into a castle at Disney World, and this thing was just a walk.
It was a walkway. I was so mad. I was so mad.
It was just like walls and pictures. There was like nothing.
Like I can remember what I felt like. I may have like looked like I was excited, but I was so mad inside. Like I was so upset.
I was
bro.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I thought this thing looked so magic with all the little fireworks going above it and everything.
Right.
It looked so cool. But so we finally started finding like all the princesses at nighttime.
Right.
And she really wanted to see the princesses, but when we got there, how did you feel? Like, what were you like when we first got in front of those princesses?
I don't know.
She don't remember. So she was very nervous, right? Very pulled back from.
I feel like that's the thing. Like I feel like that would be like every time you'd be like, "What did you feel?" Like nervous. That's why I didn't like want to do it, because I was nervous to do it.
Right, and then but I've always pushed you to be like expressive, right?
Yeah.
Outwardly expressive, making sure that you are voicing how you feel. We're gonna have a politician on our hands, guys. No, I'm just joking.
Hopefully.
But to piggyback that off of that, in those moments of like these different times where I was instilling this push for you to be outwardly expressive, and like even if you're nervous, moving through that nervousness and actually acting like the world wasn't so big in those moments when you decided to like do those things. I'm like, go, you know, like, but the world didn't seem as big as it did when you were actually in that mode of like, you know, where you felt insignificant. Like, I'm too small, I can't go talk to him. Like, you had all these reasons on why I shouldn't go dance. Did I actually say all that? No, but I'm just throwing words out there.
Okay.
Like, when you didn't want to go dance, I can't dance. Everybody's looking at me. They're gonna think I'm this and this and this. World seems so big. Or when like you at the playground, it's like few people were like, I was just showing you the different levels of like extremity of you know, these worlds that you walk into. The small world, like the playground, we're like, oh my God, there's all these kids, but nobody wants to play with me. I don't even know how to do it. And you know, select one, start with them, talk to them, outward express. The world seems smaller then because it's just you and that one person. When you're dancing, when I was like, hey, get out there and dance, the world seems smaller when you're in your bubble because now you can control that size of the world. Then when we're at Disney World, it's a big world of all these people, right? Random princesses and random adults playing like princesses for kids. And I was just like, go and tell them, like, hey, tell them that they're pretty, and you know, whatever that looks like, whatever you feel like, go ahead and tell them. The world seems smaller and more controllable. And so I'm saying all that to say that to like
sad, I was obsessed. I was like obsessed with princesses.
I didn't have that same exact experience growing up. Like, I was actually a bother or a worrisome to someone. And so I was pushed to be tiny, and not loud and not causing a ruckus, or, you know, like I was, and it was always put in like microaggressive ways, like, you know, get out of their face. They don't want to talk to you, or like, like, if I wanted to, I mean, obviously playing with kids was different, but like I didn't have many childhood friends growing up because I was forced to stay inside. And if I had a childhood friend, they couldn't come over. Like, we didn't have friends over. Like, we didn't have sleepovers. You know, my cousins and all that stuff, they lived in a whole other city. You know? So we had my brothers and sisters, and we lived our best life as best as we possibly could in the circumstances that we're in. But I say all that to say, like, we didn't have, you know, even in the family structure, we were made to be small. And I know probably a lot of adults out there can really attest to this, that they were pushed to be small, you know, like in very microaggressive ways. And so, but that I made it a point to not have you feel that exact same way in these big worlds that people go in. Because even right today, I still go into big worlds and I get anxiety sometimes, and I have to be like, all right, find one person, catch eye contact, and then talk. You know, like that kind of thing. If I go to a networking event, stuff like that. So I still suffer from those remnants of like being made to feel small. But because I'm an entertainer, I get to like I get to tap into like the entertainment vibe and be like, I'm an artist, I'm a creator. I'm going to create this world to be what I want it to be. And if I want to control it, if I want to be loud, I'm going to be loud. If I want to be soft, I'm going to be soft, but it's going to be my choice kind of thing. Now, the next part that I wanted to discuss was like what happened today, right? Not with you.
Okay. Okay, I was like, what happened today?
So there's an example.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember.
There was an example today that made me really hone into this. We were walking to go look at the space because we're doing like this Black Girl Dad panel discussion to talk about how, you know, Black entrepreneurs' dads and how their ambitions impact their daughters, which is a part of our Fatherhood Speak series. You guys are going to be seeing that content shortly, but plug. No. We were walking from the event space that we're hosting it at, and there's this guy with this really dope camera, like I do film and photography, so I appreciated the fact that he had this really dope camera. I was like, "Hey, bro, you got a business card?" He was like, "No, I don't." I was like, "Okay, I'm trying to hire you, man." He was like, "Oh no, I'm not even from here, man." And I was like, "All right, well, that's cool." He's like, "I'm not even from here. I'm just here for that." I was like, "Oh, you go to OU? That's dope." And he was like, "Maybe some other time." I was like, "Well, it would be some other time if you would give me your Instagram or something." Like, and he was like, "Okay, no, sir. All right, bye." It was the most awkward.
I was just standing there. I don't even know. I didn't know what to say or anything like that. I was just standing there.
I was baffled.
I wonder how it was around, like, with other people too. Like, how they were like
And I was
seeing
like,
it.
"You have a dope camera. You should." Like, I would expect you to have really good pictures regardless. You went that much into a camera.
Yeah.
It should look nice. So let me
Put
get your
some money
business card.
into it, you know.
Let
Gotta
me see your work.
right.
Bro was like, I don't do this. And I was like, homeboy froze up. And all I did was ask him for something that he already does and just networking with him, like
Right, yeah.
on a random. And for me, I was like,
Are you good?
what did I do? Should I not have asked?
Right.
But it made me really realize that not everyone is pushed to be big in their space or bold or confident in their space, you know? And I think do you remember, like, we went to the parent teacher conference recently, like that was something about the first instructor that we talked to and what she said about you. Like, and I think everybody that talks to me about you says the same thing, but you may not see it. What do you think?
I really don't say. What do you mean? That I have like good energy and a good vibe and that I'm confident in that.
Yes.
I don't know.
All of that.
I legit do not see that though. Like I thought it was just. I actually don't like everybody says that I have good energy and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Like you're bright. You have high confidence, and like, well, you exude high confidence.
Right. I was like, I don't really feel high confidence. Well, sometimes I do.
Right,
I be
but
feeling some
to
high
even be able to
confidence
feel that, like people see that. Your principals, they see that. Like all these people that attract to you and want to be a part of your day and your time sees that energy that you exude. Whereas when you were younger, you felt so small in that very same space, and you're dealing with more kids on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I know it's probably draining. Like, oh my God, everybody wants my light. Like, give me my light back. You know what I'm saying? But I say that to say, like, that, like, those steps of pushing you out into the world to teaching you how to make the world small rather than trying to attack the whole world at the same time.
Right.
Really, people that didn't get that same experience growing up see it. You know, and for parents, like, I think that you guys should really think about how, like, what do you tell your kids when they're being goofy in public? Like, Mariah and I we would dance anywhere.
Oh God, like
dance
anywhere
and everywhere. We would go, man, I'm about to cry thinking about it. Like, I was watching videos. We were like in a shoe store or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And we were just dancing. Like, even though I was morbidly depressed at that time, but like, she was my light. Like, you kept me bright. And like, in those moments where we were like, you know, living our best life, I didn't have any care in the world. Like, I didn't care that people was like, oh, this dad is like, this grown up is acting weird in public and all that stuff. Like, I didn't care about that. Like, I didn't care one bit. And so, and I got to experience that with you. And I think that helped us both.
Right.
You know, like, that was like a really beautiful, beautiful experience. And I would urge parents to really think about what it is that, how do you, what do you express to your children when they're wanting to be like something that in the public eye? Are you caring more about yourself and what it looks like towards you or your image? Or are you really caring about how it looks for them? I mean, obviously some kids do some crazy things that you got to be, conscientious of, but, but also think about, like, is that thing that dire that I have to tell my child to take that away from themselves, and they're trying to explore themselves and take that away? Or should this be something that be like, hey, yo, see where that leads you? I think that'll really keep some core, teach you some core values. Right. Look more into that, type stuff. Because I see great value, and I know that there's you parents who have had that expressive growing up, where your parents let you wear weird clothes and mix-match clothes and boots to school on a dry day kind of thing. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see how you grow into that, but I know that I don't want that light to ever dim. I don't want you to dim your light. I don't want to let anybody else dim that light, because you're awesome.
Slay.
Slay.
No, people are always like, oh, I don't like when you say slay on your podcast. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, slay the day away.
Slay the hate away.
Slay the hate away. All right, y'all. So that is an episode of 15 Minutes with Dad. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you like this episode, please comment, like, share, interact with us, engage with us, join our community, be a part of what it is that we're doing and what we're building, because it's not just about me and Mariah. It's about all of us. We all have fathers.
We're a community.
We all are someone's kids, and we all are someone's parents. So I love y'all.
Not everybody is a parent, so we're not all a parent.
Everyone has a parent. Everyone is someone's child. You already said
that. You said that, and then you said everybody is a parent.
No, has a parent.
You said is.
We're going to play this back.
Okay, guys. You don't have to be a parent.
I was ending this podcast.
Oh, well, I can end it for you. Thank you for watching. Join our community, because why not? And
thank y'all for tuning in to 15 Minutes with Dad. Y'all take care. Wow, bro. Wow.
If you enjoyed your experience, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Make sure to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss another episode. You can like and share us on Instagram or TikTok at 15 Minutes with Dad. And remember, 15 minutes is a short time, but better than no time. Spend it with someone that you love.